Welcome to the Radiantly Feminine podcast, where we embrace elegance, confidence, and the power of true femininity. I'm your host, Mookie. So, whether you're looking to refine your presence, elevate your mindset, or navigate relationships with ease, this is your space to grow and glow. So, sit back, relax, and let's unlock your feminine power together. First off, I want to say I am super excited. This is my first episode on my podcast platforms. So I just want to go ahead and dive right into today's topic, today's episode, whatever you will. So the episode is called Feminine Energy Explained. So I just want to start off with a definition. Feminine energy is an invisible force that's associated with compassion, emotions, and introspection. It's often said to be associated with positive traits like creativity, empathy, and self esteem. So, with that being said, I just want to let you all know that femininity is a sense of being, not doing. And I say that because it's really important because I do see a lot of content creators posting content about how to be more feminine, how to appear more feminine. And don't get me wrong, I love all of the content that everyone is pushing out. Trust me, I think it's super helpful and I love that everybody's trying to embrace their femininity. But I think it's super important to recognize that being feminine is a sense of being. It's not a performative act. You need to stop performing and start embodying your feminine energy. Just know you will only truly be feminine when you are your true self. So stop trying to fit into a mold. You are already feminine. Part of being feminine is being intuitive. And that's where we hear the term woman's intuition because as women, when we tap into our intuition, we already know things before we see it, before it happens, etc., etc. So I say that to say when you tap into your intuition, you are connecting with yourself, you are connecting with your higher self, your true self, and that's when you tap into your feminine energy. So the first step, the first things first, tap into your intuition. That is how you unlock your feminine energy because you are just getting in alignment with yourself and seeing yourself for who you truly are. And as women, we are just naturally supposed to be in our feminine energy. So trust your instinct and listen to your higher self. Now, if you are struggling with tapping into your feminine energy, I just want to shed some light on what characteristic traits you should be looking for when you are trying to identify whether or not you are tapping into your feminine energy. So, like I said, you're tapping into your feminine energy is about being. So we are rooted, we are grounded, we have a sense of who we are. We are being, we are here, we are existing. Also, receiving, being in your feminine energy means receiving, being able to receive whatever is thrown at us, but also setting boundaries so that we are not receiving too much. And that also falls under the lines of allowing, which was my next point. As feminine energy, when we're tapping into our feminine energy, we do have to be able to allow certain things, not in a passive way where we are just overlooking everything and playing small, but in a way where we are setting boundaries, sticking to our standards, but also being receptive. My next one is passive, not passive in a negative way where we're playing small and just ignoring things and not and just lowering our standards pretty much, but passive in a way where we are letting things just be. We are letting go of control and letting things be as they are because as a feminine energy, we are recognizing that we have little to no control over basically anything except for ourselves. So you are letting things outside of yourself just be. We have no problem letting go of control and we are just allowing things to be as they are and also allowing the universe or God or whatever you believe in to take control and handle things because we have that inner knowing. We are in touch with our intuition and we just know that things will work out for the better, but we are capable of letting go of control and remaining passive in a positive way, not a negative one. We are also in touch with our feelings and emotions. So that means we are emotionally intelligent, emotionally available, and we are able to get in touch with our emotions. We're able to reflect on our emotions and see where big emotions or deep emotions are coming from. And we are able to have control of our emotions and not let our emotions control us. Also, when you're in your feminine energy, you are creative. You are able to go and do a certain hobby. You are just able to tap into your creativity because being a woman is about creating. As women in our feminine energy, we are able to literally create life. If that does not speak on the creativity aspect of our feminine energy, I don't know what will. But we are literally able to bring life into this world. So that right there just should say it all. Tapping into your feminine energy is about being creative as well. And then, like I stated earlier, being intuitive, tapping into your intuition. When you don't use your intuition, it goes away. It's like a muscle. So it's not a muscle, but you know what I mean. Being intuitive. So you want to be able to tap into your intuition. Now, some signs that you may be operating in your masculine energy is when you are doing more acting, you are taking more action, you are being proactive, and you are just doing. Also, if you are producing, if you are making things, it's not the same as creating or being creative, but making things, producing it falls into the lines of taking action or doing things. When you're in your masculine, you are also more logical. So you this involves you stepping away from your emotions and thinking more logically. We all know that men use logic over emotions and women use emotion over logic. So when you are using logic over emotion, you are operating in your masculine energy. You are also going to find yourself being more competitive. So you're competing with everybody, and sometimes that does stem from comparison, and that is also a negative trait to have as well. So when you are more competitive or you're feeling competitive towards other people, then you are operating in your masculine energy, and also you are using your intellect. When you are operating in your masculine energy, you are more intellectual. Now, I say all of that to say I want you all to know that being feminine is not about being weak and letting the masculine control you and dictate what you do. Being feminine is about allowing, which is why knowing how to set boundaries is very important. We are going to talk about boundaries more in depth in a different episode. I have a whole different episode planned on that because it's really important when you're tapping into your feminine energy to know how to set boundaries, when to set boundaries, and when to walk away when your boundaries are being crossed. That is very important. As a feminine, you are going to allow, but you're not going to allow too much because that is going to deplete you of your feminine energy, and that is not good for anybody's sake. Now, it is important to have a balance when it comes to the masculine and feminine energies. We naturally have both of those energies within us, but when in our society, when you are a female, you tend to operate in your feminine energy, and when you're a man, you tend to operate in your masculine energy. But there are people who operate from their wounded masculine energy and their wounded feminine energy. And it can be one or the other, or it can be both, depending on what you have experienced and your perspective and everything that falls into how you operate on a daily basis. So, I do want to go over the characteristics of feminine, wounded feminine energy and wounded masculine energy so you can look and see if you're operating in any of these. So, wounded feminine energy will look like you have low self esteem, you are people pleasing, you're easily attached, so you do not have a secure attachment style, but you're operating or you have an avoidant or anxious attachment style, you're manipulative or can be easily manipulated. You're insecure, you don't have a sense of yourself, you don't use your intuition, you have a victim mentality, and you can't use your voice to speak up for yourself. You also have trouble setting boundaries and setting standards for yourself. Now, the wounded masculine energy will be defensive, cold, cannot easily trust people, so you're distrustful, you're ego centered, self centered, you have a hard time thinking outside of yourself or being considerate towards others. You give more or give into situations where your energy is not being reciprocated. You tend to be more controlling than you should be. and you suppress your emotions. So you have a hard time getting in touch with your emotions or even identifying your emotions. And you're competitive to a point where you're comparing yourself. And we all know that comparison is the thief of joy. Now, when you're operating in your divine feminine energy, you will be warm natured. So you're going to be very warm and welcoming. You don't rush. When you're in your feminine energy, you acknowledge that you have an abundance of time and you take things slower. You move slower. And also, when you're rushing, I don't know about you, but when I'm rushing, I tend to feel anxious and flustered and just all over the place. So I tend to move slower. I like to have slower mornings so that way I can feel at ease and in my feminine energy. You're also empathetic. You're nurturing. You're naturally nurturing. You don't have a problem with being vulnerable and you know who you can be vulnerable with. You are emotionally available, emotionally intelligent, and also in touch with your emotions. You are receptive, kind, allowing, and you're flowing. So a lot of people they associate being feminine with flowing water. You were just going with the flow of the universe and you are just able to move with ease. So if any of these traits sounded like you from the wounded masculine or feminine, because remember, you can have both masculine and feminine wounds within you. So if you have any of these that I listed, here are just some ways that you can nurture your feminine energy. So that way you can start the healing process. So you can tap into your feminine energy and be a true divine feminine. So you can dance. I love to dance. I personally dance pretty much every day before I leave the house for work. I turn on one of my favorite songs and I do a quick little dance. It gets my energy up, my frequencies up. I feel happier and I feel light on my feet. I am just super ready to take on my day after I get my little dance routine before walking out the door. Indulge in self care. You want to pamper yourself so that you can feel love from yourself because when you love yourself, you're able to accept love from others. Let go of control. We cannot control things outside of ourselves. So you really want to be able to let go of control. When I let go of control, that's when I started to see the most changes happening in my life in a good and positive way. You want to also become creative. So get some hobbies under your belt, take up some art classes, go work out, whatever type of hobby you interests you, take it up because when you tap into your creativity, you're going to start nurturing your feminine energy. You want to spend time in nature as well. Spending time in nature has actually been proven to lower stress, so it will help you in more ways than one. Um, you also want to reconnect with your intuition. When you reconnect with your intuition, you're reconnecting with your true self. And again, that is the first step to tapping into your feminine energy because it's already within you. You want to nourish your relationships, whether it's familial, platonic, or romantic. You want to nurture relationships with people that just care about you because it feels good to be cared about, but you want to make sure you're actually pouring into other people as well. But you want to take care of yourself first because you can't pour from an empty cup. You also want to be able to listen to people around you. Don't just fill the air with your words. You also want to be able to receive what other people are saying as well. And then you also want to be able to embrace your sensual side because that falls under the lines of dark femininity, and that will be a whole nother topic for another episode. But you want to be able to embrace your feminine, your sensual side, because that is part of your feminine energy. And honestly, when you tap into your sensual side, it it just brings you closer to your true self. I can't explain it right now, but when I tapped into my sensual self, I'm telling you, like my perspective changed for myself. You also want to practice self reflection. So I this does mean tapping into your emotions and getting in touch with your emotions, but also mirror work helped me as well. I actually met a girl who had a hard time looking in the mirror, and this was very sad to hear because I had just started my mirror work and just getting comfortable with looking at myself, and it's just very sad to hear that other women are not able to look at themselves in the mirror because they don't like what they see or they're uncomfortable looking at themselves. It's very sad and heartbreaking to hear that, but practice self-reflection and mirror work can really go a long way with gaining confidence and getting in touch with your inner self. And you want to just allow things to be. This will help you nurture your feminine energy as well. So, we are approaching the end of this episode, but I do want to let you know that the more relaxed you are in your feminine energy, the more you will actually get. So, this falls under the lines of letting go of control. You have to relax and you have to just be. Let things be and just relax because you are now going to be more receptive, and that actually makes you magnetic. Instead of chasing your desires as if you're in your masculine, you are now going to attract your desires. So just think of it. If you're just sitting here with a goal in your hand, you have your eyes on it. This is what I want. You have it all mapped out. You have a whole plan mapped out and you're just holding on to this goal for dear life. And the universe is like just looking at you like, "Girl, let go of that goal. There's something so much better in store for you and you don't even know it because you can't even take your eyes off of that goal." I'm not saying don't have goals, but just let go because we cannot control how and when things happen. If you try your hardest to control how you get to your goal, this is going to look like you taking the harder path in life. You have to learn how to let go so you can start to receive what's meant for you. And I say this to say, I have really tried. I'll sit there and map out a plan because I'm type A personality, but I will sit there and try to map everything out. But the universe has thrown me so many different lessons to learn so that I could let go of control and allow what's meant for me to come in. Because if I'm sitting here holding on to one goal in one hand and another goal in another hand, I have no more hands to actually accept what's supposed to be mine. My blessings have my name on it. The universe is trying to give me exactly what I'm asking for. But I'm so focused on my goals that I have them held tight in my hand that I can't even see that there's something bigger out there for me. There's something else out there for me. A lot of women don't realize that the masculine energy is controlling. When you're in your masculine, you'll find yourself saying things like, "I have to know," or "it has to happen this way," or "it's not going to happen." You'll find yourself saying things like that. And when you stop trying to control the outcome or the way you reach your goals and desires, that's when you align with what's truly yours. You're also opening the doors for bigger and better and newer opportunities that you never even thought of. Think of when people say, "I never thought I could have this. I never thought my life would turn out this way. I never knew things could be that way." It's because you are not letting go of control so that the universe can bring in what's meant for you. So, ladies, let go of control in order to attract what you desire. Trust your intuition, and that's when you start to embody your feminine energy. I want to thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. Again, this is my very first episode for my podcast. I still have my YouTube channel where I'm uploading video podcasts on my YouTube channel. So go ahead and check that out. It will be in the podcast notes. Be sure to share it and like this if you liked this episode. And I will talk to you guys next week. Bye.